work is about and a goal. There's a lot of energy in this place and a lot of positive things happening, and we're fortunate in it that a lot of it comes from our executive director, Ms. Sherry Meyer.
Thanks, Mike. We really want to welcome you guys here tonight. It is such a blessing to have all of you back here. This is our second annual dinner where we're celebrating the achievements of people that have graduated from Luther North Institute and Luther North High School North. Luther High School North. I can never get that right. But I really want to thank you guys for being here. You're amazing. The accomplishments that you guys have, the accomplishments that you have achieved in both your careers and your personal lives are really an inspiration to the kids here. And I know that everybody here in this room, at some point in your life, somebody really inspired you. Somebody really looked at you and said, you know what, you are really cool and you are really special. And I just really want to celebrate your achievements. And I really want our kids that are here tonight to be able to get to know you and to understand why you made the choices that you did, because we're still here doing this work and we're still here trying to give kids an opportunity in Lutheran education and to achieve their dreams. So thank you so much for coming here tonight. We appreciate you being here, and we really appreciate your love for Luther North and your involvement here. So thank you guys, and have a great evening.
If we may, before dinner, as one Christian family, pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the feast of which we are about to partake. Thank you for the people who have provided it, the people who are serving it. Most importantly, we thank you for this place, Luther North, Luther Institute, and we ask you to bless the people in this room and have them acknowledge that everything they've accomplished as a result of their time here and beyond has all been possible through the grace provided by you. Be with everyone tonight. Be with Luther North tonight and in the future. We ask all these things in your son's name. The formal portion of tonight's program, we will formally recognize the inductees to our Wall of Fame and to introduce the names and the brief history of each of the inductees. I'd like to welcome to the stage Mr. Eric Bonatz. Eric.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I didn't do too well in physics. I was an honors student at Lane Tech, and I took physics at summer school so that I could take AP biology the next year. And I didn't tell all my science friends, but I did that because I was weak in physics. So it was a great show here, I learned a few things here. But what I walked away from this small presentation from Professor Hagen was simply a lot of capital was extended to prove a theory. And a lot of dedicated people have dedicated a lot of time of their life, and a lot of assets were put to use to prove a theory that's important. And when I think about Luther North, I think about what we do here at Luther North. I think about the students that we educate. I think about the game plan. I think about the dedicated faculty and staff here. And I think about all the assets and the things that we put in place. And I think about what we've tried to do the last 2 years, which is to turn the school around and reestablish Luther North. And to some extent, we're kind of trying to prove a theory that we all know the answer to, which is this school produces great individuals, and the product of the school is A+. And I thought about what Dr. Hagen was saying, and I thought to myself, well, we're extending capital, we're extending our assets. We've got faculty and staff here. I watched some of them greet some of our honorees tonight with hugs and kisses, and I thought to myself, you know, we've got a theory to prove, and we know the answer to it. We just have to continue on this path and rebuild the school. So, Dr. Hagan, thank you so much for that speech. It was really interesting. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all the honorees that are here tonight. Thank you for past honorees. I see Bill Mattis, I see Mr. Lester, I see a lot of people that were put on this wall last year, and other people that have done so much for the school. So what I'd like to do right now is recognize a number of people, the honorees for tonight, and I could probably spend a lot of time talking about each one of these individuals, what they've done for the school, what they've done for the Lutheran community, what they've done for the larger community as a whole. And unfortunately, we don't have that much time. So I'm going to recognize each one. I'm going to go through a few bullet points, but I really recommend that everyone take a close look at the little informational brochure that we put out on each one of these individuals. And even that only touches just an inch deep of what these people have done in their lives and how they've affected our communities and the Lutheran Church. So, but without ado, I'd like to move on and start recognizing some of these individuals. And the first person, it's kind of special for me to introduce him because I actually received an appointment to the United States Military Academy. I didn't graduate from the academy, but two things that stuck out from the academy. One is the motto, honor, duty, country. And when I was in a Lutheran school, there was teachers like Mrs. Belau who they just emphasized that and in a different way. So with a lot of pride, I'd like to introduce Andrew Kletzing. He was a captain of the U.S. Army. He's retired. He's from the class of 1999 here at Lutheran North. He's a graduate of West Point, a graduate of Harvard Business School, and he is now working for Walmart, the headquarters in Arkansas. And most importantly, this is a veteran. He's someone that served our country. He's a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom. So we'd like to recognize Andrew Kletzing. Go Army, beat Navy. Well, we move on, and it's kind of interesting with the roll call here because we move from the Army to the Marines. And the next person I'd like to introduce is a graduate from the class of 1958, the Honorable Perry Gulbranson, retired. Judge Gulbranson also served his country as a U.S. Marine, served in the Vietnam War. He's a captain retired. He's an associate judge of the Circuit Court of Cook County. He's a past president of the Illinois Arbitrators Association and served on various boards. And as I read through your background, it was interesting to know some of the work that you've done with the Norwegian community, with Viking ships, and kind of caught my eye. And it was, I'd like to talk to you later about that. But thank you so much. Our next honoree is Professor Gerald Danzer. Professor Gerald Danzer. There we go. Professor Danzer is from the class of 1956, Lutheran North. He's a published author and editor of multiple books. He's a professor of history emeritus from the University of Illinois at Chicago. And he's active in many professional and community projects. And I think he just recently published a book on the history of Illinois. And it's an honor to have you here, and it's very interesting. The next individual is someone somewhat dear to my heart, or I should say my brother's heart, Mrs. Dorothy Belau. She's a graduate of the Luther Institute from the class of 1943. And I say she's dear to my brother's heart because she taught my brother. She worked at Jehovah Lutheran Church and School, where my family were members for over 45 years. She's a Lutheran school educator. She's a Christian servant leader in the church, school, and society. She obtained her bachelor's degree from Valparaiso University, and then she moved on to get a master's degree from Northwestern University. Her son-in-law graduated from Northwestern, and I guess the family story is that she has to remind him that she wore the purple color first before him. And fond memories of Mrs. Belau. My brother always said that when my mother took him out of the public school and dropped him into Jehovah, she kind of dropped him into Mrs. Belau's lap. And he credits a lot to her hard work and education, and I know many students have in the Lutheran grammar schools. So Mrs. Belau, thank you for your hard work and your dedicated career. We have two individuals tonight, and neither of them could be here, a married couple that met here at Luther Institute. They're Luther Institute grads from 1948, Mrs. Carol and Bud Weeman. Their son is Tom Weeman, that we all know. Carol and Bud have spent many, many years supporting this school, Lutheran churches, Lutheran education, and I remember some of the first events that I came to Luther North. There was a familiar face standing in the background, and it was Bud Weeman's face. And when I came back to Luther North a number of years ago and I went to a basketball game and I got involved, I saw that same familiar face standing in the background quietly, observing and participating, and it was Mr. Weeman. Mrs. Weeman, Carol, worked with the Luther North Ladies Auxiliary. She's on the Luther North Boosters Club, Women's Guild at Bethany Lutheran Church, and she supported with her husband Lutheran education and activities on multiple levels for many, many years. Bud was a Luther North Board of Trustee member for a number of years. He was also on the Luther North High School Association of Greater Chicago, and he was the Vice President Director of Hoyne Savings Bank. And when I think of these two individuals and how much they've committed to Lutheran education, I can't help but think of Tom Weeman, because Tom followed in his parents' footsteps, and he's been a dedicated servant to this school and to Lutheran education. And many of the honorees and people that come back to Luther North, one of the first stops is to see Tom and give Tom a hug and talk to Tom. So receiving this award on behalf of his parents who couldn't be here is Tom Weeman. Our next recipient could not attend tonight because she is 6 months pregnant with a child, and I know that there would be nothing more that she'd like to do right now than to be here at Luther North. But her mother and father are here. Sheila Fleischacker has a PhD and a JD. She's a graduate of the class in 1996. She has a doctorate of philosophy in integrative biosciences, nutrition science option, and Juris Doctor with certificate in health law. Public health law researcher, and she proudly continues her Luther High School North Carpe Diem approach to advancing health promotion and disease prevention. Carpe Diem, seize the day. I spoke with Coach Grimm, and he said, seize the day. When she was on cross country in her last few years at Luther North, she came up with this idea, Carpe Diem, seize the day, and that was the motto of the Luther North cross country team. So she's not here tonight, but we like to think of her and thank her for everything that she's done for Luther North, and it was a pleasure meeting her mother and father. Thank you so much. The next recipient we heard from a short time ago, Dr. Carl Hagen from the class of 1954 here at Luther North. He's noted for his significant contributions to particle physics and theory of mass generation, co-discoverer of the Higgs mechanism and boson in 1964. He was awarded the Physics Society J.J. Sakurai Prize for Theoretical Particle Physics in 2010. He was also graduated first in his class in 1954. And I think I like to say that Carl Hagen really represents the quality of student that can come out of this school. Someone who came to this school, took his education, moved on, and really applied himself, as all of our honorees did. Dr. Hagen, thank you so much for being here tonight. Our last honoree is the late Donald Mundinger. Mr. Mundinger, Professor Mundinger, was the president of Illinois College from 1973 to 1992. No small feat. He's a vice president of academic affairs at Valparaiso University. He was the chairman of the Department of Political Science at Augustana College and held numerous appointments in other universities. Donald can't be here tonight, obviously, but he has a good friend, a classmate, Ralph Kruger, who's here to receive the award and his stay. Ralph? I'd like to thank all the honorees for being here tonight and all the past honorees for being here tonight. The work here at Lucid North continues. We've got an excellent faculty and staff, which is number one. We have an executive director who's working really hard here at the school. We have a revamped board that's making every effort to turn the school around. A lot of work needs to be done. We have to continue this effort. It's not something that takes place overnight. I see a lot of people at tables here tonight that may not have been here 3-4 years ago. And I would ask that you take an interest in Lutheran North, reevaluate what you do for the school and for the community with your Lutheran churches, and make an effort to make a difference here. This school has produced a lot of great graduates, people that we have yet to even discover that have walked out these doors and have done wonderful things. And we need to keep the school going. And, you know, proving a theory about the God particle, I don't even know where you'd begin to start that. And the assets and the time and energy that these doctors and these professors put in to do this. And we're talking not about creating proving a theory like that. We're talking about reestablishing a school that we all know does a tremendous job with its students and produces a fine student. We just have to reinvest in the school, rebuild the school, and continue on. So it was a pleasure being here tonight. And to our honorees, it's wonderful to have you here. It's wonderful to have your face and your story up on the wall. And for the students that are here, must have 15 to 20 students here. If this doesn't set an example of what you can do with your life as a graduate of Lucid North, I don't know what is. We have military, judges, doctors. Anything is possible. You just have to apply yourself. And with the staff that we have here and with good Christian values, you can do it. So thank you, and thank you for allowing me to be here tonight to give these awards.
Thanks for the time, Eric. Thank you very much. All right, the next step for the inductees, if you would be so kind, is to go to the lobby where there'll be an official acknowledgement of your installation on the Wall of Fame and some photo opportunities. So, and then when that is done, we return back here for a performance from the students, our Fine Arts Department, Almost Maine. So it's going to continue to be a great night. Dessert and coffees in back for those of you who are waiting while we go through the procedure of the induction. So enjoy the dessert, have some coffee and water, and then we'll gather back in here for the students' performance of Almost Maine. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you.